Is it better? Can you hear me now? Please comment to let me know you can hear me. Oh, great. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for the feedback, Dr. Chi. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So I was saying that the devil is a liar. I came live and I discovered my webcam wasn't functioning as it should. And I was trying to figure out what was going on. And while trying to figure out what was going on, I mistakenly ended the live. So after I figured out what was wrong with the webcam, I did not know I had ended the live. So I just continued with the lecture. It was just like some minutes ago that my husband called my attention to it that the video ended after 5 minutes or so. So I had to start all over again. I am very, very sorry. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for staying with us, with me. So I'll start all over again. I was actually almost rounding up with the lecture before I realized that you guys weren't hearing me. So, excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, I had to take a sip of water to calm down. So now, what is sensory play? Sensory play is any activity or play that stimulates your child's sense organs. The sense of sight, the sense of hearing, the sense of touch, the sense of taste, and the sense of smell. So any play that would stimulate all these sense organs or more than two of these is actually sensory play. So now let's run through the benefits of sensory play. So when you listen to the benefits of sensory play, you would know why you should engage your child in sensory play. So number one, it helps your child explore, navigate, and investigate the world around them. Number two, it helps build your child's nerve connection in the brain. The sense organs are connected to the brain. They have different spots in the brain. So when your child engages in sensory play, they will develop better. They will their nerve connections in the brain will develop and function better. Then the third importance is that it helps your child develop the scientific thinking, problem solving skills. When your child engages in play that would stimulate the different sense organs, the child would develop the skills that would help them give solutions to problem. It's not every time they'll say, mommy, 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 daddy, 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 mommy, what is this? Mommy, how do I do this? Mommy, where is this? Mommy, where does this go? It will help them develop scientific thinking and problem solving skills. Now, the fourth one is it helps develop speech and language. So while your child is engaging in sensory play, the child is also learning new words, also learning the new names to different objects. The child is also learning to understand what they are being told, instructions, directions. The child is learning a lot of things. So your child develops speech and language while they engage in sensory play. The fifth one, your child develops fine and gross motor skills. So while your child, be it an infant, a toddler, or a school age child, is engaging in sensory play, they are improving on their fine motor skills and their gross motor skills. So they will learn, they will improve on these skills such that it will impact their lives. It will impact how your child writes. It will impact how your child buttons or dresses up by himself or herself. It will impact different aspects of your child's life. Then the sixth one, it will improve your child's eating habits. You know, one of the major reasons why some children are picky eaters is because they were not exposed to different sensory inputs while they were growing up. So they are not used to the different textures. So if the child just likes puree, the child will just stick to the puree and be taking puree all the time. Breakfast puree, lunch puree, dinner puree, everything puree. But when your child is exposed to different textures, different sensory information while young, it will help improve on how they eat. It will improve on their feeding habits, their eating habits. They won't tell you, oh, mommy, I don't want anything crunchy, or I don't want this because it's hard. They would adjust and adapt to different textures and they will eat better. The seventh importance is that it helps your child socialize better. Sometimes during assessment, when I'm assessing children for speech and language issues, some parents will be like, okay, my child doesn't like playing with other children. When my child goes out and the children are more than 3 or 4 or 5, the child will not like to play with the other children. The child would just stay by himself and play with himself, or he will just come and meet me. This is sometimes an indication that the child is not balanced when it comes to sensory adjustment. So your child, if you have a child who doesn't play when the playmate is more than 1 or 2, engage that child in lots of sensory play. Because you know, when you have more children playing, there'll be lots of fast movements. Like you can see what I'm doing now. There'll be lots of fast movement, a child running around, a child flinging the hand, a child doing this, balls being thrown, different things happening while your child is playing. So if the child is not well adjusted in the sensory aspects, it will affect how the child is seeing all these images and everything happening. So the child won't be comfortable. So the child would rather play by himself or by herself than play with other children. So the 8th, oh, I've gone past 8. Yeah, it helps your child socialize better. And then the 9th reason why you should engage your child in sensory play is that it refines your child's threshold for different sensory information. Take, for instance, now you take a child out and while you're on your way to wherever you are going to, or while you're on your way back, the child hears a trailer horning for the first time in his life. If the child is not well adjusted, the child will be scared. The child will be afraid, like, what's that sound? But a child that has been exposed to lots of sound in time past would just see the sound and say, would hear the sound and say, oh, that's a loud sound, louder than the ones I've been hearing all day. The child would take it better, would develop shock absorber to extremely loud sounds than a child who has not been engaging in sensory play. And then finally, sensory play will through sensory play, your child will learn to block out background noise and focus on what is important. You are in a place, the child is in school, but because the child is hearing a background noise, maybe the school is close to the road and cars are passing, or whatever the background noise, the child will be distracted and will be unsettled until background noise stops. So, but for a child who is well adjusted or who has been engaging in sensory play, the child will be able to say, okay, there's a noise in the background, but I'll focus on my work. It will help your child to learn to block out background noise and focus on what is important. So these are the importance of sensory play. Now let's talk about examples of sensory activities that can benefit your children. Please, if you are with me, if you can still hear and see me, please just type something and send. Say something. So I'll be talking about infants, babies. What sensory activities can I carry out on or with my infant child? What can I do with my infant child that the child would benefit? Okay, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Abimbola Solaja and Ekozi Egbelo. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. So now for babies, for infants, you know you can start engaging your child in sensory play from day one of birth. You don't have to wait until the child is 3 months. The earlier you start engaging your child in sensory play, the better for that child. The more adjusted that child will be when the child grows up. So, how can you go about this for your infant, for your neonate, your newborn? Okay, during bath time is an opportunity to engage your child in sensory play. You can put floating duck, floating fish, different activities. I mean, different toys that can float in on your child's bath water or in your child's bath. And the child will see it and say, oh, yeah, that is colorful. What is that? The child will be thinking about this. And as the child grows, the child will begin to learn about the colors, the sounds. So bath time could be an opportunity to introduce your infant to sensory play. Even bath time, you could also play with bubbles. You could create bubbles with soap and water and watch your child. You allow your child watch the bubble float and deflate eventually. So this is a way your child can, your infant child can learn how to play, can engage in sensory play. So another way is to play touch and feel, to allow your child play with touch and feel books. Your infant child, remember we are still talking about infants now. You allow your infant child play with touch and feel books. How do you do this? You know, there are books for infants, for babies. I don't have one nearby. Maybe I'll post a picture of one later. You will see you would have a picture of an animal and the animal will be textured like furs. And the child can feel it. Oh, this is like a fur. This is the skin of an animal. And while your child is feeling it, you are talking to the child. You are telling the child, yes, this is how a chicken feels. This is how a goat feels. This is how a sheep feels. So you are actually stimulating the sense of touch while flipping through that book. Your child is also learning animal names as an infant. The child is learning colors. The child is seeing colorful things and learning to feel. Another thing you can do with infants is making them observe lights and shadows. You can, at night when you switch on the light, you just go to a place where there's shadow, or where you can see your own shadow or your child's shadow, and you do things like this. You play with your fingers, you play with your hands, you hold the toy up, you allow the child view the shadow. And while you are holding it up and taking it down, you make sounds. You say, oh, down, up, down. Oh, where is it? Where is the shadow? You play, you allow the child, you engage the child. The child would view this and say, oh, wow, what is this? The child is thinking. The child is wondering, oh, it has gone. Oh, it's back. You are stimulating the sense of sight. And your child is thinking and trying to figure out what this is. But as time goes on, the child would learn and become better at it. So now let's talk about toddlers, preschoolers, and school age children. Toddlers, preschoolers, and school age children. What activities can you do to stimulate the brain? What sensory play can you engage them in? You can also make them observe light and shadow. Yes, you can make them observe light and shadow. If you have a puppet, you can do puppet show with light and, at night with light and shadow. You just say, oh, look at this and all that. You can also engage them in toys like this. You see, you can still use this for an infant. You wind. When you wind, it starts to drum. You see, this toy now appeals to the sense of the sight. It appeals to your child's sight because it's colorful. It has more than 3 colors. It has the red, the white, the lemon green, and yellow. So your child is looking, oh, this is colorful. Because it's colorful, your child will look at it. And then when you wind it and it starts drumming, you are stimulating the sense of hearing. And then if you spray this with essential oil or food flavor, let's say strawberry flavor or vanilla flavor, it will also appeal to the child's sense of smell, because the child will perceive it and say, it smells nice, it smells funny, it smells somehow. So that way, by playing with this, if you have oil on it or food flavor, you're appealing to the sense of smell, the color to the sense of sight, then the sound to the sense of hearing. So that's that. We also have squishy toys. Elephants, please stop drumming. Thank you. So we have squishy toys. You see, when you play with this, it appeals to your child's sight because it's colorful. It appeals to the hearing because it's making a sound. So we have, there are different toys you can use in stimulating a toddler's senses. You can also use these toys too for infants. Remember, I mentioned that earlier. Then also, you can do mixing colors for persons whose toddlers are still mouthing things, like everything they see, they put things in mouth, they put objects in their mouth. I would advise that you use edible colors. Yes, it doesn't have to be paint, it doesn't have to be watercolor. You can just buy food color. Just go to a catering store. Tell them you want to buy food color, the color they use for icing. You can buy color blue, you can buy color yellow, you can buy different colors. And you can just allow the child, create an environment, maybe the bathroom or a safe place where they can play with water and color. Allow them mix colors. If you have time, you can stay with them to reduce the mess and also to supervise, so that whatever color, whichever color they apply to the water or they add to water, you tell them, oh, that's color pink, that's color red. You can also add food flavor to the water so that it will smell nice and it will appeal to the sense of smell. Then another thing you can do with your toddler, preschooler, and school age children is to create shapes using Play-Doh or Eba. If you don't have Play-Doh or you cannot afford Play-Doh, you don't have to kill yourself before you engage your child in sensory play. You can just get a cup of Gary. I believe we all know what Gary is. If you don't know what Gary is, whatever powder for pasta is available to you, be it fufu or tuwo, rice tuwo, but try and go for the one that is white, so that when you mix color with it, it will blend easily and it will bring out the color beautifully. So you can go for Eba. You make, maybe you get 2 or 3 cups of Eba. I mean Gary flakes or powder. Then you boil your water. You mix the, okay, you put the color in the hot water before you make the Eba. I mean, before you boil, so that it will blend. Then you make, but the implication of this is you have to make several times in case you want to play with different colors. You boil for color red, you make the little Eba for color red. You boil for color blue, you make the little Eba for color blue. You have different colors. Then you ask the child to roll, mold, cut out shapes, cut out alphabets. You know, by so doing, your child is playing with, is stimulating the sight, the sense of the sight, and the sense of, you can add flavor to it to give it smell. You can also add, okay, flavor for smell, color for sight, and then molding it for touch. So you ask the child to create circle. You know, while you are doing this, your child is learning shapes. Your child is learning so many things. Your child is learning speech, language. The brain is at work. So your child would mold, you cut out with the child. You can get a plastic knife or a safe cutter for your child. You can get scissors, plastic scissors for your child to cut with. You can even use plastic spoon to cut. You don't have to break a bank or break your bank account or run everything down because you want your child to engage in sensory play. You can actually make do with things. You just go creative and create little things that would stimulate the more than 2 senses, up to 2 or more sense organs. So also, you can allow the child play with sand. If you live in an environment where you don't have sand, you can get a plastic like this one, this big plastic. You can buy one, pour sand into it, sandy soil. Then after pouring sand into this, you allow your child play in it. You put little tiny objects like cars, toys, buttons. You allow your child play in it, depending on the age of the child. But if your child is still mouthing objects, your child likes putting things in their mouth, I would advise you use Gary, so that you know that at all your child is eating Gary. You know, you can fill this, maybe 1/3 of this plastic with Gary. You can make the Gary colorful. You can create a rainbow just in different batches. Color the Gary, mix cold water, with color, the food color I explained earlier. You know, it will be edible that way. And then after mixing, you pour it in your gari, you stir with your hand, then you try to break them back into powder, allow it to dry. Like what I have here, this is color purple. Sorry, you may not be able to appreciate the color well because of the light and everything. This is color orange. This isn't gari. I didn't use gari for this. I used corn chaff. You know, the for those who make pap, the chaff you sieve out of it that you usually toss, you throw away, or you dispose or give to animals. That was what I used in making these colorful powders. So if you have them, this is a mixture of all the colors. This is color green. So if you can just arrange them in different colors, maybe from this place to this place, red, from here to here, yellow. You just arrange them in different colors, then you allow your child scoop. If the child mixes everything together, it's all good, it's fine. But at the initial stage, you can just create the rainbow colors and allow the child play in with, you know, since you are using food items to create your playthings. If your child eats them up, eats the gari, corn chaff up, it's food. Nothing bad will happen. And because you are using color, food flavor instead of perfumes, it is edible. Your child will be okay. So also, you can take your child outdoor to play. Allow your child walk barefooted. Not all the time shoes. Allow the child walk, step on stones, sandy soils, smooth floor, different textures. Let your child feel the difference in textures. It will help them adjust better. Even for little babies, you know, you could also teach them the difference between warm and cold, hot and cold, by using warm water and cold water. You just dip the baby's hand in the cool water and say, oh, cold. Then you dip the child's hand in warm water and say, oh, warm. The child is learning the differences that way. So that's the, let me see if there's any other idea I have here. Playing outside, playing with water, squishy toys, wind and what's it called? Wind up toys. Then cars, little cars like this, you know, when you pull them back and release them, it propels the car forward. Cars, plane, buses. If you have tiny ones like this, when you pull it backward, then release, it will propel it forward. So things like that you can use for the preschool child, the toddler child, and the school age child. So like, okay, now if you want to go shopping, you want to buy toys, look out for toys. Before buying a toy, look at it. Ask yourself, will this toy appeal to, how many sense organs will this toy appeal to? Is it appealing to the sense of sight, hearing, touch? So as long as the toy has up to 2 or more senses it appeals to, you can go for it. You can also create your own toys locally. So now for special needs children, you know, sometimes children have neurodevelopmental disorders that affect the way they process sensory information. For instance, children with autism, Asperger's, and some other maybe Down syndrome, sometimes they have sensory processing disorder, also called SPD, sensory processing disorder. Because of the neurodevelopmental disorder they have, it affects the way their brain interprets sensory information. It affects the way their brain interprets sounds when they hear sounds, interprets things when they see them, interprets textures when they eat or when they feel with their skin, interpret things when they inhale, when they smell or perceive them. So, for children with special needs, sometimes they have sensory processing disorder as a result of the condition, the underlying condition they have. So now, how do you know your special needs child has sensory processing disorder? I will do a post on Speechy Haven's Facebook page. I'll send a checklist, a sensory processing checklist, where you can check so that when you tick lots of boxes in certain areas or in more than one area, you would know that, okay, my child has sensory processing issue in this area or in this area. Meanwhile, children without special needs do have sensory processing issues too. So it's not just children with special needs that have such issues. So how to know? Let me just cite a few examples. How to know that a child has sensory processing, a child might have or might be having sensory processing disorder. Does your child cover his or her ear when they hear sounds? When you play music or when you sing, or when a toy is making certain sounds, does your child cover his ear? Does your child cover her ear? That is a sign that a child has sensory processing disorder. It might be a sign. It might not be in all cases, because just that is not enough to put your child under that label of sensory processing disorder. So also, does your child cover his eyes or her eyes when they are in public places, or when fast objects are moving, or when children are running around? Does he or she cover the eyes with their hands or bow their heads? It might be sensory processing disorder. Is your child a picky eater? If your child is a picky eater, that's an indicator. So, also, is the child hypersensitive or hyposensitive? Hypersensitive in the sense that any little thing they are already reacting. Any little thing they are shrinking away from you or from whatever it is that touched them. Hyposensitive in the sense that even when cold water, chilly water pours on them, they don't react as if anything happened. They are just there still. Is it that when hot water pours, even when something burns them, they don't react? It could be an indication that the child has sensory processing disorder. The sense of touch is not feeling things the way it should. So if a child, your special needs child, has issues with sensory information, or when children have issues with sensory information, it can affect the child such that they can have sensory overload. What we call sensory overload is when there are too many things, like the child is seeing sight, the sight is being stimulated, hearing is being stimulated, touch is being stimulated. So the child's brain is confused that which one first, please, one after the other. So what you should do when a child has these issues is engage the child more. Engage the child more in sensory play. Make sure you try to play with the child such that you stimulate every sense organ in the process. You can devote just 10 minutes of your time daily to that child for sensory play, and you'll begin to see results. If you devote 10 minutes of your time, you can do more. Children don't get bored when you play with them. Trust me. You can do more, but if you can do at least 10 minutes a day, it will benefit your child more. It will benefit your child a lot. So if you engage the child in sensory play, if the child has special needs, and also you see an occupational therapist, occupational therapists have ways of helping children adjust when it comes to sensory inputs and information. If you need if you want to know how to reach out to an occupational therapist, you can ask. You can send me a message through the Facebook or through Twitter or through Instagram. You can send me messages in any of the handles you have here on the screen, and I'll respond to you. I'll let you know where you can find occupational therapists. If you can consult them online in case you don't have any in the city where you reside. So that's that about special needs. Now, let me run through creating sensory items for your child. I know I have described earlier. Well, let me just go through this again for emphasis sake. Okay, so if you can't, like I said earlier, if you can't afford Play-Doh, just do eba. But make sure the eba is colorful. You can have different colors of eba by adding food color to the water you use in making the eba. So you can make different cups of eba. But if your child eats the eba, if your child eats object or mouth object, make sure you dispose the eba after use, or you can store each color in a refrigerator, and whenever you need it, you bring it out, you microwave. That way you've killed germs by microwaving it. At least it will still retain the color. Or if you can afford to make it make fresh eba every time, fresh colorful eba every time, please do that. And something to make the color interesting, in your yellow eba you can add orange extract, maybe orange flavor. You can find that from catering stores where they sell baking items. You apply orange flavor so that the yellow color or orange color eba will smell that way. Then you can make red eba. You can add strawberry flavor to that. You can make green eba. There are different types of flavor. Just shop and buy as many flavors as you can afford and play around with smells, with colors. So make sure whatever you are making appeals to at least two senses. That's with eba, making Play-Doh. If you can't afford to buy Play-Doh or you don't have access to Play-Doh, you can make eba, colorful eba with food flavor. So the colorful eba with food flavor will appeal to the sense of sight, smell, and then now, because your child can taste it if they like, can appeal to their taste, and also it will appeal to their touch, because they are going to be molding things out of the eba. It will appeal to touch. So that's that. You can use color in water, food color also, if you are particular about your child drinking it. So you can use food color, food flavor, mix with water, or ask the child to mix and you play with colors. You can also fill, like I said earlier, you can fill this with sand if you have older children. You can also use a small container. It doesn't have to be big, depending on the resources you have. If you use a bigger one, your child can stand inside it and play. And if you use a smaller one, the child can just scoop into plate, into cup. You give the child plastic spoon, plastic cup, and plastic plates. The child can scoop. Your child, if you have kitchen set, the toy kitchen set, you can give it to your child to cook whatever it is that you have in the bucket. If you don't have access to sand, like I said earlier, you can create your own sensory items. This is corn chaff, a byproduct of making pap. making your own ogi, pap, cocoa, akamu. So after sieving, I kept the shaft, and this is what I use it for, to play. I have different colors. I mixed colors with it. This is orange, purple, green, mixed colors. So I have different, I think this is red. Yes, red. This is the mixed colors. So I have different colors. You can just allow the child play with these things. So another tip to help you is, when your child is playing with things like this, make sure it's in a safe area. Don't allow the child play with stuff like this without supervision if the only play area is your sitting room, especially if you have a very colorful and nice rug. So you have to supervise the child while the child is playing, so that it will reduce the mess the child will create in the process of playing. So that's all we have for today. Now we have questions waiting for me to answer. Let me scroll through this. So someone said, what sensory activity would you recommend for teenagers with autism spectrum disorder? Okay, because this lecture, I directed the focus, the target population is for infants, preschoolers, and school age. But then let's go through this together. A teenager, music will appeal to a teenager's sense of hearing. Musical instruments, strings, keyboard or piano, whichever one you have available. For teenagers are almost like adults. Tiny things like this will not appeal to them, to be boring. So you have to be creative. You have to look for items that appeal to them. So you might not have one item that will appeal to all the senses for a teenager. So you can just go one sense at a time for them. So also artwork for sight, just give them watercolor, give them plain sheets, and ask them to do whatever they like. Then also for the sense of smell, they can smell, you can ask them to perceive different flowers. They can smell essential oil, different flavors. They can smell perfume. You just rub it on their skin and ask them to perceive it. So, and then also for touch, you present different textures to them and ask them to tell the difference. So for teenagers, I believe that I would prefer that we start working with children earlier, because for a child an ASD child that is already a teenager, it will be difficult to help them adjust, overcome sensory overload. But if the parents start early, as from when a child is an infant, preschooler, toddler, it will be easier to work with such a child. They will be better off. They will balance well when it comes to the different senses. Then someone said, okay, I am glad that the items you are mentioning are easily accessible. Let me see if I can scroll up. to view more questions. Okay, I think I'll just answer the questions on Facebook. You can type in your questions. I can't see the questions that were sent earlier. So you can type in your questions under this live video, and I'll treat them. I'll attend to them. I'll reply every question asked. So you can just go ahead and ask. Though for those questions I'm yet to respond to, I'll answer every question. Thank God it's Facebook Live, because I can't scroll down. I can't see the past questions that were asked earlier on. So thank you very much. And I have good news for you parents. I'll be inviting a clinical audiologist on the 29th or thereabouts of this month. A clinical audiologist to teach us how to preserve our children's hearing, how to help your child such that your child will not experience hearing loss, what they call deafness, especially for children who are born without hearing loss, and also for options of listening devices for children who already have hearing loss. Children with hearing loss can hear again. So I would be inviting a clinical audiologist here, and he will be on this live stream with me on our next what do they call it, live appointment, let me put it that way. So I'll be inviting Mr. Promise, and he'll be here with us to answer all our questions. So stay tuned. Remember to share the link with all your loved ones, your friends, people who have babies, toddlers, children with special needs. They can all benefit from this. Also, remember to subscribe on the YouTube. Just search for Speechy Heaven on YouTube. You'll find us there and you'll find our videos. Remember to subscribe. As soon as okay, you can subscribe. I have all the handles displayed here. So you can follow on whichever handle you are using: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram. Okay, there's a Telegram group for parents who have children with special needs. You can request for the link. I would share with you so you can join. Thank you very much. Yeah, you are welcome, Deborah Olayemi. Thank you very much for joining us today, and you'll be seeing more of me by God's grace. Have a wonderful sensory playtime with your little ones and have fun. Bye.